Hey guys, this is Isa, and I'm gonna narrate a PO red, blue, yellow overused battle between Marcoasd and Raish. This game was played on the PO ladder, so it's not in the context of a tournament or anything. And I haven't been sent this game from Raish, uh, I haven't watched it yet. So I'm already getting behind in this battle, but let's get right into it. We have a Stormy versus Stormy lead. Raish makes a very great prediction, I believe, by predicting the Chansey switch and going Executor himself, gaining the sleep advantage immediately by sleeping the Lapras on the switch. Executor comes in on the follow-up. Raish misses a stun spore, but a sleep powder is missed. So Stormy comes in for free, uses Thunderwave, connects with Lapras. That was a very interesting switch. I would have gone something else, I believe. Chansey comes in, pardon me, on a Psychic. And Chansey, we're finally back up to speed. Chansey uses Ice Beam and it gets an immediate freeze. And it's on Snorlax as well. And it follows it up with a critical hit. This is already slightly ridiculous. Confuse Ray is used. Okay, self-confusion. Yeah, that's something at least. Body Slam is used. It was the proper call, but it didn't do a whole bunch of damage. Marco makes a good prediction. Uses the time to switch into Chansey to stare down the opposing Stormy. Raish goes for Thunderwave versus Chansey. Tanks a Thunderbolt, I think that's fine. Then doubles into his own Executor. What is the plan here? Okay, another double. Apparently it was a failed one. I agree that seeing Executor is not what he wants to do at this point in time. Executor uses Sleep Powder on the switch to Snorlax. Yeah, that's fair. Lapras comes in on the Sleep Powder. Okay, so that's always a good thing. Getting your most damaged Pokemon to tank Sleep Powder. Stormy is hit by a Stun Spore, and Raish really very early calls GG. It's 6-6. Okay, Snorlax frozen, but let's be real for a moment here. Raish sent this replay to me, not Marcoasd. I do not believe that Raish would have sent this replay to me if it was already over. So we're not gonna press that X button just yet. Okay. So Stormy, the Septus reveal. You could already see in the bottom right of the screen that this was the team that Raish brought to the battle. But Marcoasd obviously couldn't. So Raish sets up the light screen in front of a paralyzed Chansey, gets a critical hit Drill Peck. That helps a lot, of course, but gets paralyzed. Snorlax comes in for free. Uses Body Slam, yeah, that's fair. Thunderwave connects, Thunderbolt, and a full paralysis. This Septus is surely putting in work. Body Slam, do we get to see a critical hit Thunderbolt here? There's not even a high roll Thunderbolt can kill here. Raish would have needed higher rolls, instead he got low rolls on the Thunderbolt instead. And I think he knows that. That's why he switches out to Stormy. And to his, yeah, damn, it was Hyper Beam, and that Hyper Beam would have killed Stormy. So Raish surely lucked out. And the critical hit Psychic. It was not Recover, as I believe Marcoasd predicted. So now we got a game on our hands. It's 6-5. Both sides have one Pokemon slept. Snorlax is frozen for Raish. So essentially 5-5. But if Snorlax can catch a self-destruct or explosion, then that's obviously great. Tauros comes in, uses Hyper Beam. Okay, Snorlax tanks the Hyper Beam. The question is, does Raish sacrifice this, or does he go into his own anything else, and he goes into his Tauros. So we have a Tauros Ditto, critical hit body slam on the one side, para slam on the other. That's it. Yeah, Raish says, okay, I'll take that, and I believe that he should be very happy to do so, because there's no Shanse on the opposing side. Paralyzed Starmie is now going to be an essential tool. He outspeeds the entire opposing team except opposing Starmies, and as it seems, Marcoasd is willing to use that as something to take damage with. This Executor is the only thing that outspeeds Starmie, but it has Sleep Powder, Psychic, Stun Spore, and very likely to have Explosion. So the Starmie can only hurt it by blowing up on it. I don't agree with using with going Zapdos here unless, yeah. And he says, "Oh my God, I forgot you're not parried." So yeah, that he realizes as well that's an obvious blunder. And Starmie comes in one turn later, and the Specs drop is there, and apparently that's a prompt to switch into his own Executor. Darn expected Hyper Beam. Hyper Beam has not been revealed. It's not a standard option. I am very curious as to why he would expect Hyper Beam. But Stun Spore is thrown at both sides, and then Psychics are traded. It's interesting to note here that the entirety of Marcoasd's team is paralyzed except for the Starmie, which is asleep, and as it enters now, it has 4% HP. And yeah, now that's gone as well, so it's a 6-4 game. Raish did indeed have a very uphill battle when the freeze happened, but I am positive that it is now heavily in his favor. The frozen Snorlax is not very much of a bother. It can be sacrificed safely to the Blizzard here, as it's very unlikely that anything will take a freeze. Zapdos comes in to sing its swan song. It outspeeds everything except the opposing Tauros, but Tauros, it can enter, but it really wouldn't like to. Marco decides that his 36% Snorlax is the best sacrifice. I really don't agree. I think that if that's a standard Snorlax set, which I believe it to be, then it has the ability to tank a Psychic, or a Blizzard, or a Thunderbolt without dying. So I believe that sacrificing Lapras there would have been the better play. Lapras dies to the critical hit body slam. That was fortunate. A misprediction, but it worked out. Okay, Lapras comes in. This has Thunderbolt, obviously, but Thunderbolt deals less than 50%. Starmie, on the other hand, does not carry Thunderbolt, so it's gonna be a battle between Thunderbolt and Recover for quite some time. And Lapras is obviously favored because both sides are paralyzed, but Lapras can, yeah, indeed get a critical hit. So that's very unfortunate for Raish, and I wonder what'll enter now. Zapdos comes in. Thunderbolt is the obvious move. It connects with Executor. Executor lives a Drill Peck. It will cripple Executor to the point of dying from... there's a paralysis turn. So Executor will go down unless it's switched out, or if Zapdos is paralyzed. So okay, that's fair. Tauros, it will kill Executor with a Body Slam. Lapras can enter and will not die from a Hyper Beam afterwards. That's very noteworthy. But Executor can, and I believe should, also be sacrificed here. Then Lapras should come in. Blizzard should be used. It will KO Tauros if it connects, and then Executor will not die from the Blizzard, but Executor will also fail to KO Lapras. And even if somehow the Lapras goes down, as long as this Tauros does the same, Marcoasd should clean up with his own Tauros. But it's still not over. This is all down to full paralysis and accuracy. The Lapras cannot make any other move than Blizzard realistically. and that will have about a 65.7% chance of connecting, and it will still live a Hyper Beam. And if Raish decides to go all in on this turn with a Hyper Beam and hoping for a critical hit, even that won't be guaranteed. In fact, it's a sub 50% chance for a critical hit Hyper Beam to connect here. So I believe that the play here is Lapras comes in. Tauros uses Body Slam, hopes for a critical hit, because if it's a critical hit, then a Hyper Beam will be a follow-up KO. If Marco predicts the Hyper Beam, okay, let's not get too behind. Body Slam does not crit, Blizzard connects, and Raish is solely depending on some serious big hacks, as he puts it. Blizzard is dodged, and Psychic gets a Specs drop. That's incredibly relevant. So now Blizzard will do nothing because there's another full paralysis. And now we got a big game of Tauros versus Exeggutor. Tauros lives 1 Psychic, will succumb to 2. Exeggutor lives Hyper Beam at this percent. Body Slam will deal at a minimum roughly 26%. That is enough for Hyper Beam to be a guaranteed KO. In practice, I believe there's like 5% chance of not getting the 2-hit KO with Body Slam and Hyper Beam in a connection. And Raish says, I think I go for the tie. I don't fancy that. Ties are not as fun as actually winning, even if a tie is obviously a objectively speaking better result. I still believe that going for the tie is not something you should do. Body Slam misses, and Explosion is indeed thrown. And that's the game. The last turn Body Slam miss. Now, to be fair, the Body Slam miss did not matter, as Raish did indeed go for the Explosion and secure the tie. And we don't often get to see the ties. I believe that if Marcoasd would hold Raish to his word, then a Hyper Beam would be the better choice. Because that's the only way to win in one turn with a critical hit Hyper Beam. But yeah, this battle was certainly something. Raish did indeed look like he was down and out very early on after the freeze on the Snorlax, followed by the critical hit Thunderbolt on Lapras. But he had, if we're looking at the teams, I believe that Raish had a matchup advantage because Zapdos is a very strong Pokemon, but it is absolutely stopped in its tracks when an opposing Golem or Rhydon has hit the field. However, Marcoasd did not carry one of those Pokemon, and if we count, we have 1 Thunderbolt weak Pokemon, 2 Thunderbolt weak Pokemon, and 1 Drill Peck weak Pokemon. If we add Chansey as a Drill Peck weak Pokemon, as it did take over 70% damage from a high max roll, in fact, Drill Peck critical hit, then that's 4 Pokemon weak to Thunderbolt and Drill Peck. Tauros cannot realistically enter on a Thunderbolt. It will take just beneath 50% and does not fancy a Paralysis. So the only realistic switch in is Snorlax. And Snorlax is a Pokemon that kind of gets worn down usually as it tries to find combat opportunities. So Marcoasd's team has a weakness to Zapdos, and Raish was fortunate enough to carry a Zapdos after his Snorlax was frozen. So he could indeed crit his way back into the game by getting first the crit with a Drill Peck on the Chansey and then the critical hit Psychic. Well, that's it. I've spoken far too long, but I'm glad that you tuned in to watch this. Until next time, this is Isa, signing out.